So many great film roles to discuss. I want to move on to the curious case of Benjamin Button. What is your most fond memory of that experience?
That was tough, actually. It was really tough. We were the first crew to go into New Orleans after Katrina, and so it was quite a lawless environment, and it was quite a scary place. There were 6 shootings, I think, in the first few days that we were there.
Another offer you couldn't refuse came when Steven Spielberg called and asked you to play a villain in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, a role that Steven Spielberg describes as his favourite ever villain. And so,
he says that to all his villains.
Well, maybe he does. But how did it feel? How fun was it to be part of that Indiana Jones world?
It was incredible. And it was it was a bit like the Blues Brothers getting the band back together. You know, it was just watching these people who had a long history together. I'm sure, stupid question, have you seen Star Wars? But to see Harrison Ford up there, just that sort of that accretion of cultural history, film history, just sits deeply within him. So it was a masterclass watching him on how to get it right tonally, you know, because he always gets it tonally right, as does Spielberg in those instances. And it was an absolute ball. I've got a photo actually of this is how long ago it was, of Spielberg. He and one other person on the planet had been the first 2 people to get the first iPhone. And there's a photo of he and my two eldest sons sitting there looking at the first iPhone on the Indiana Jones set. So that's kind of one for the ages. I mean, I do not know how I got the job. Jenny Sherkor did the hair and makeup, and it was the first proper screen test I'd ever done, where, you know, you get into hair and makeup and costume, and they sort of mock up some sets and they light you relatively well. And I had some of the worst wigs I've ever seen in my life on my head, like ferrets, red ferrets. And I thought, I'm bound not to get this job. I didn't really care, to be honest. I just wanted to work with Peter Jackson. You know, Brain Dead, and I mean all the zombie stuff that he and Fran had done. I love zombies, and so that really interested me. And he's got this intense sense of the ugly, which I thought would be really interesting to bring out in Tolkien's work. So it was the endeavour that interested me. I had no idea that it was going to be what it was.
But you love zombies. Is that a role you long to take on in the future?
I think probably the zombie moment has passed. But yeah, I may have missed the moment there. I missed the vampire moment. I'm always behind the 8 ball. I had a moment where there's a physical thing at the end of the performance, and I did a misstep and giggled on one of the runs, and the director took me aside and tore strips off me and said he was about to fire me. And I wept and wept and wept and wept. And Jeffrey said he'd never seen so much mucus come out of a human being. And he said, okay, now have you finished? We're going to get up and we're going to keep rehearsing. But I'll always remember a director, a teacher, when I was in first year at drama school. He said, if you're going to fail, fail gloriously. And that's always stuck with me.
She succeeded gloriously tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Cate Blanchett!
Thank you.